Hey everybody, I got another movie review for you today. And the movie I'm going to be reviewing is The American Psycho, starring Christian Bale. And before I get into the review, I would just like to say I'm reviewing this movie while I'm not in the best of health right now. I'm on some medications for it, and so don't give me any lower ratings because of like how dull it seems. Anyways, moving on. This movie stars Christian Bale as Pat Bateman. If anyone can see what it's referencing there, that's cool. Anyways, he's a businessman. He's your typical businessman, like big time businessman, kind of stuck up and all that. So kind of gives you like that. He's like this real preppy kind of guy, where he's like he even explains how he gets ready in the day. Like he narrates throughout most of the movie. Like in the beginning, he's just like he this like when he wakes up, he's talking about like how he gets ready. Which wow, I really gotta stop repeating myself. I'm sorry. Um, he goes into explicit detail, and you actually see him. And he gets to work, and he's kind of like a stuck-up a-hole. But once like nighttime hits, and he goes to a club, and the club plays a really awesome song. Uh, he sees this one girl there, the bartender, and he says to her, "You're an ugly, and I want to stab you to death and play with your blood." And then for some reason she doesn't seem to care. It could be due to that she may hear that a lot, or she probably thinks he's drunk. Anyways, the first kill in this movie is actually to a homeless guy. Yeah, some poor homeless dude. He starts like yelling at the guy. First he gives him some words of encouragement, then he starts yelling at him, and then he starts stabbing him. And he kicks his dog to death, which I thought that was kind of mean. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into like the whole detail. I'm just gonna give you pretty much the basic overview. Um, he then This is like a little bit later in the film. He then hangs out with his one friend, and they're listening to Huey Lewis in the news, and then like his friend's drunk off his mind. So like he's explaining to him like what Huey Lewis in the news would sing about and stuff like that, and he's being kind of humorous at this time. He starts like doing the moonwalk, and when he's doing the moonwalk, he's like carrying an axe, and then he like comes up behind him and like axes him right in the face. And you see, he kills people in brutal ways, but this movie doesn't really have a lot of blood. It has blood, but not a lot of it. Like it's kept to a good tame level, which I thought was kind of cool. Anyways, he picks up hookers from time to time, and the first time he gets two hookers, and he lets them live, but they realize he has some really strange sexual fantasies. Like he gets out a hanger at this like the morning after, like you see what they do. So like this movie has a lot of sex in it, but you don't see penetration, but you know what's going on. It's the unrated version, so it's very in detail what he does. Anyways, he lets them live, and earlier in the film, he's met by a detective played by William Dafoe, who does a very good job as the detective, but the problem is he's only shown like 3 times in the movie, which I thought was kind of disappointing. He definitely deserved a bigger role than that. But he still does a great job. I don't care how long he's in the movie. He knows how to do his part. Willem Dafoe, he was great in this, Shadow of the Vampire, and The Green Goblin. Anyways, moving on. Wow. This movie takes place in the 80s, so you see like those old bulky cell phones with those like long antennas, and he still listens to tapes, and CDs were expensive at the time. You start to see things unravel with him because when people start having the same stuff as he does, he starts getting all freaked out. He then goes, he then picks up the same hooker he had the one night before. He brings her up to his friend who he's killed room, and he has sex with both of them. Then he stabs the one girl while he's having sex with her, and then the one girl tries to escape. But this is probably the coolest scene in any movie. Anyways, what he does is he's following her, like she's running down the stairwell, so he's like following her with the chainsaw, and then when she's at the very bottom, when she's at the very bottom, he drops it, and she gets a chainsaw in her. Anyways, that's pretty much all there is to say other than explaining the ending, which I'm not going to do because it's like a huge like slap in the face kind of ending, and it's really weird. If this is overall a must-see, a must-own, you can get. I got this at Walmart for $5. Dirt cheap, great price, great film for $5. You can't go wrong with that. I don't care what you say, Walmart's great for that stuff. You get good acting. This is a kind of a cult film. Like it got good reviews by critics, but not a lot of people know about this film, which is kind of sad. This is based off of controversial novel by Bret Easton Lewis by the same name, and the book's pretty good too. I recommend reading that. The deaths in this movie are pretty cool. There's not a lot, but when he does kill, it's pretty cool. He says a pretty cool line, and it talks about Ed Gein. You really get into the character and realize how psychotic he is. Anyways, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to say. Okay, 8 out of 10, but if I was rating it out of 5 stars, it'd be 5, but if I'm rating it out of 10, it'd be like 8. Good film, but sometimes leaves you wishing for a little bit more. Anyways, that's my review. Later.